is me, Asha. Welcome back to my channel. Today, I'm here for another episode of Rap Talk. So Rap Talk is a series on my channel where I talk about everything, music, news, tech, everything in between, and overall the culture. So I like to do the scrolling and the researching so that you don't have to. So on today's episode, we'll be talking about Kanye West and his first Indonesian tour. Next, we'll be getting into a bit of the pod wars. So Joe Budden of the Joe Budden podcast and Mandii of the Decisions podcast currently have a little bit of beef going on. And lastly, we'll be getting into AI lawsuits and how DSPs are moving forward in the age of AI. Kanye, known as Ye, he announced his first ever Indonesian concert happening this October. So it was confirmed by Jakarta-based promoter Raw Vision Collective, and that's where the tour will be taking place. And this is in promotion of his album Bully that was released earlier this year in March. So tour stops include cities like Madrid, New Orleans, and of course he's going to his hometown, The Chi, in September, and it's going to be a 2-night city tour. What I really thought about, what this really made me reflect, is that Kanye has been in a lot of controversy. In 2022, during one of his shows, like one of his fashion shows, he wore a shirt that said White Lives Matter, and then in one point in time, he had gotten banned off of X and Instagram because of his anti-Semitic tweets and posts. And then there was another time where Balenciaga even severed ties with him, and then he had a documentary coming and that was scrapped as well. The last two concerts that he held this April 1st and April 3rd, it put him in a position to be first rapper to sell over 70,000 tickets for a single concert in the US. And this is at the SoFi Stadium in Los Angeles. And both of the shows grossed $16.3 million. This made him the highest grossing concert rapper in history. I recall myself being a really big fan of Kanye. I don't believe in cancel culture, and I believe that everybody can bounce back from cancel culture depending on what it is. As sad as it is, R. Kelly even has fans. I'm not no R. Kelly supporter, but the fact, the outrageous and the disgusting things that he did, he still has fans. Chris Brown did that to Rihanna. I don't necessarily believe in cancel culture because it's very selective. It's like, if you're gonna cancel one, you gotta cancel all. I know that this concert is going to do well. I know it's gonna be successful. Outside of the Black community, Kanye has a very large fan base. Like, I remember it was the Life of Pablo tour, one of those tours. The crowd was so diverse. Kanye fans are similar to Odd Future Tyler the Creator fans. Tyler the Creator does have a Black fan base, but he has a very big white fan base as well, similar to Ye. And then Ye has expanded into fashion as well, and that has allowed him to grow an even bigger audience. So, and I think that when he goes to Chicago, my wish, and I know that it'll probably never happen, I wish that he could bring Jay-Z out. I want to see them perform, but I know that it probably won't ever happen because Kanye is just too far gone and has separated himself a lot from the Black community. It would be so nice to see a good music reunion, Big Sean, Tiana Taylor, Pusha T, but he has done bad business with a lot of people, so I know that it won't happen, but it would be nice to dream, you know? So let's get into the pod wars between Joe Budden and Mandii. Joe Budden is a rapper turned podcaster turned journalist, businessman, and mogul. The Joe Budden podcast has been around for at least 10 years, and he has gone through a lot of co-hosts and things, but the formula of his show works, and it is one of the highest grossing hip-hop podcasts in, I could say, in the world, because he not only has millions of listeners, he also has Patreon subscribers, which is behind a paywall, so that is another avenue for him to make money as well. Then Mandii B is known for being sexually liberated. She's a podcaster, a entertainer. She talks about sexual health and just sexual liberation on her podcast. So it used to be Horrible Decisions, but now it's just Decisions, and she co-hosts that with Weezy. What is the connection between Mandii and Joe Budden? So Mandii B used to host a podcast with Bridget Kelly called See the Thing Is, and it was on Joe Budden's network, the Joe Budden Network, and they just had a lot of controversy. They didn't really agree on things, management, business, and so they just decided to branch off and do their own thing, and that podcast actually ended up breaking up anyways. Joe and Mandii actually go back from being in those internet and being in the internet and music and culture space. They have crossed paths for years. According to Joe, they've known each other since about 2008, 2009, which is when people really started to get on the internet and become internet personalities. On the Decisions podcast, Mandii was talking about marriage, life, and things of that nature, and she said that marriage is for broke women. I'm gonna allow her to give some context before you come and attack me. She said it, I didn't.
Okay, so this is gonna be my hot take. And no shade to either.
We're only 3 minutes in.
I know. I think marriage is for broke bitches.
Oh!
And so I think a woman who wants to be married is leaning more into the patriarchy and wants to be essentially, possibly taken care of, have their man as the leader. All of the ideals for me of what marriage looks like is that. So I just saw my friends.
Joe and his co-host, specifically Ish, who is friends with Mandii, Joe said, well, she doesn't claim to be married. She doesn't want to be married anyways. And Mandii has said it because I follow her podcast. She has no desire to be married.
I know Mandii personally. Mandii stands on the hill of, I don't really want children. So if you don't want children, then you take away the whole family dynamic from marriage.
She isn't marriageable. She isn't marriage type anyways. And Ish rebutted and said, just because she doesn't want to get married, that doesn't mean we should label her as unmarriable. So they kind of go back and forth with that. And so Mandii caught wind of what Joe said on his podcast and took to Instagram Live and just said, hey, Joe is mad because I rejected him.
Why does Joe be hating on me? I don't know. At this point, it's because I ain't let him fuck. I don't know. I don't know why Joe hating. Because to call me unmarriable as if we all publicly don't know his roster of women that he has proposed to and is about to propose to. And that's why I like Ish. Because Ish knows me off the pod shit. I am very marriable. Even that is such a dumb ass, like, what is that? Adjective? Yes, that's a dumb ass adjective.
And I didn't want to sleep with him. And she implied that, and there was no receipts, there was no proof. It was just like cold tea. So then Joe responded, and he was actually really upset, and he went on his infamous rants on the couch. He basically said, hey, that's not true. Don't put that on my name. I've never tried to sleep with you. We've gone back. We go back so many years. It's always been a professional relationship with you. Like, you don't even have to go there. And what really got him upset was that Mandii made comments about his girlfriend or soon to be fiance and saying things about her. And I think that's what really stung because it got really personal. Joe and Mandii have been hot and cold, and I don't really think they necessarily like each other. Like, I think they have like a love-hate relationship, but it's more so leaning towards hate. And also, Mandii doesn't want to be married. Her talks and the way she talks and the way she conducts herself, she's very sexually free, she's liberated, all these things. You're not marriage material and you don't want to get married. It's like, can you really be offended? Because you did say that you don't want to be married. And then someone's saying that you're not marriage type anyways. And I could see how that could like sting, but at the end of the day, if it's not something that you're not desiring, then I think it's not the comment itself, it is who it's coming from and their history. That's all. I think it's petty. And it also sparks a bigger question as to why do podcasters be having beef like rappers? Like, they drop one episode and they be talking about each other, and then they'll drop a clip and then a clip will come out and all these things. And I think that it's honestly just exhausting because, like, at the end of the day, what are y'all all fighting about? You have your audience and the other has their audience and everybody is successful. So I really don't want to see any more back and forth between Mandii and Joe Budden because it's just like, Mandii, you're not on the network anymore. Joe, she's not on the network anymore. Let's just not. Let us just all go our separate ways. But last but not least, let's talk about Billboard. Billboard put out this story of like the top 25 biggest music industry stories, and the one that struck out to me was AI lawsuits continuing and DSPs making their move. So music listening platforms are experiencing the biggest influx of AI generated music being uploaded to their platforms. So Deezer, they reported that in January 2025, 10% of their daily uploads were fully AI generated, and it jumped to 44% just this April of 2026. So now that's 75,000 AI songs today, probably even more than that. So the rise of AI generated content and music caused media companies and DSPs and labels to take action. So Deezer announced that there will be automated tags for AI content and remove them from algorithmic recommendations. iHeartRadio also became the first radio station to ban AI generated content from the airwaves. Spotify even created an initiative called Artist Profile Protection. So it prevents deep fakes from getting on human artist page, as well as verification badges and AI credits. So the issue with AI music is that AI music does not sound good. That's one, because the voice, the tone, the inflection, it just doesn't sound good. It obviously sounds fake, and it's AI music is literally just a bunch of sounds and artists, and they type in, or they program the model to say, oh, sound like, I don't know, Jill Scott, sound like SZA. And so it kind of has like a auto-tuney crunchy sound, right? And it also takes away from artists, and it is really bad for the environment. And don't get me wrong, I am all for technology and innovation, but when it makes actual sense. The only way AI music makes sense is for reference or demo tracks. Or, for example, Migos. Migos did a demo track for Ape Shit by Beyonce and Jay-Z, right? And they did a reference track. Drunk in Love, Future did that reference track for Beyonce. So if they need to pull from inspiration to make a song, but not take that whole song and upload it, sure, I get that. Use it as a tool, not as a crutch, not as the actual end product. AI is going to improve. It's only going to improve and get better as people test it, as people use it and consume it. And it's going to get good to the point where it's probably going to be hard to tell the real from the fake. It's in the testing phase, but the fact that certain people aren't able to tell the difference. It is this song called I'm a Phenomenal Black Woman. It literally sounds like Jennifer Hudson, exaggerated. And it was this TikTok trend, and Black moms everywhere were just like, what is that song? And they were jamming to the song, and little did they know that the song was AI generated, and it's just like, ah. And I'm happy that certain labels and DSPs have taken the initiative to remove AI music from the algorithm. But what about the other platforms that have not implemented that same type of regulation? Like, for example, it takes away from artist discovery, because you're now finding all this AI content, AI music. How am I even gonna find a real artist at the end of the day? So it can mess with the algorithm. It can mess with how you discover music. But speaking of discovering music, I have put together an official playlist for this series called Rap Talk, the Playlist. So it's a few of the artists that I mention in my videos I actually do listen to. So I update this playlist weekly, and it is exclusively available on Spotify and YouTube. So please check it out, link below in the bio. And I hope that you all just enjoy that, by the way. And I don't know, I will put it on Apple Music, but y'all, I don't want to pay for that Apple Music subscription. I'm sorry, not in this economy. Anyways, thank you all so much for watching. And let me know down below in the comments, what are your thoughts on Kanye and his new tour? Are you a Joe Budden or Decisions podcast watcher? And how do you feel about those two? And lastly, what are your thoughts on AI music? Is it ethical? Do you use AI? How do you feel about it in actual music? And also, don't forget to check out my playlist. So thank you all so much for watching, and until next time, bye.